Hi, everyone. We're going to be starting our STEAM lab in just a few minutes. I just wanted to make sure that everybody has their supplies list available and ready to go. Miss Lorena just put it in the chat. So if you want to participate in today's STEAM lab, go ahead and click on that link. You will access all of we're going to be doing 4 activities. And you just need to have those items available for you to do the activity with me today. If you don't have those items, you can always rewatch the STEAM lab on our YouTube channel and follow along at a later time. So there's always that as an option. Let me just, okay. And we are doing a green themed STEM lab today. So everything that we're doing is going to be green in color in some way or another. All right, so hello everyone. I am Jackie with the Santa Clara City Library. I work at the Central Park branch here in Santa Clara, California. So if you're watching from another state or another country, welcome. It is good to have you here with us. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And we will get started with our first activity right now. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so our first activity, and just so people who are just joining us, we have a STEAM lab monthly. It's usually the 3rd Tuesday every month. Next month is going to be an Earth Day themed STEAM lab. So that's going to be lots of fun too. And that's already on our calendar if you want to check it out. So today, our first activity is going to be called Green Penny. And what you're going to need is salt, white vinegar, a shallow tray or dish, paper towels, and pennies. So I'm going to turn on my science cam. Let me just change this. I'm going to turn on the science cam so that you can see. There we go. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. Okay, so for activity number 1, here's what we have. So we have some white vinegar, plain salt, dirty pennies. So they're pretty unrecognizable as pennies, right? They're so brown. And then paper towels and our tray. Okay, so once you guys have all of your supplies ready to go ahead and give me, like, raise your hand for me and let me know. I'm just going to check up on the chat. You don't have white vinegar. Do you have like apple cider vinegar? You can try to use that. I think it should have the same effect. So try using the apple cider vinegar. Okay. All right, so I see 6 hands raised. If you're watching on YouTube and you're ready, say I'm ready in the chat and Miss Lorena can let me know. Okay, I see 8 hands raised. Does anybody need more time? Ready? Okay. Oh, so sorry. Let me pin my screen. Oh, wait. So sorry about that. All right, so we're going to get started. So again, we have salt, vinegar, dirty coins, paper towels, and a tray. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, always speak up if something is not right on the screen because sometimes we don't see what's happening until it's too late. Okay, so here we go with the instructions. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to soak a couple of paper towels in vinegar and then line the bottom of the tray. So I've taken about 3 paper towels here. And we're just gonna line it like that. I might want to do, actually, I want to do maybe 4. If you have like the nice bounty paper towels, you probably only need maybe 1 or 2 and then you can fold them in half. So I'm gonna unscrew my vinegar. And then I'm just gonna pour a little bit, like kind of right down the middle because the paper will absorb it. There we go. Just right down the middle. Just let it absorb. Okay, that should be good enough because I have 5 pennies here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to place the pennies onto the paper towel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Let me recap this. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take our salt and we're going to sprinkle the pennies with salt. And it's supposed to start, oops. Actually, let me put this in here because this dispenser is not very good. Okay, so I put it in a little cup and I'm going to sprinkle it. Okay, so it says sprinkle the pennies with salt and wait for a reaction to start. If your paper towel isn't wet enough, it will start to oxidize and your pennies will turn to white, then green within about 10 to 30 minutes. So this is something that we're actually going to have to come back to. So keep an eye on this. We'll check back in about, well, maybe once we get done with all of the rest of our activities. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put that aside and we're going to move on to activity number 2. Okay, so activity number 2 is lava lamp. For this one, let me move the tray out into the front. All right, here is our second set. So for activity number 2, we are going to need a clear glass, which I have right here, clear glass, vegetable oil, cooking oil, or baby oil. I opted for some baby oil. We're going to need water, which we'll get from the sink. We need green food coloring. So I have this one, and then we need effervescent tablets. So Alka-Seltzer or a generic brand. So here's my just plain old extra strength Alka-Seltzer. All right, so let me know when you have all of these items ready and we can move on to the activity. So I'm just going to lower everybody's hands right now and then put your hand back up if you are ready to go. And please put any questions in the chat or you can send it through the Q&A. You don't have tablets. If you don't have the tablets, unfortunately, there's no substitute for this. I think, let me just look. Well, the other substitute, it would actually be baking soda if you have it, because the active ingredient for Alka-Seltzer is sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. You can get Alka-Seltzer at any drugstore like CVS or Rite Aid. If you can get them at the grocery stores as well. I bought my box at Safeway. Yeah, what Mavis said too. You can try using the baking soda and vinegar if you want to, if you have that available. All right, so let me know when you are ready and we will go ahead and get started with the instructions. Okay, so I see quite a few hands up. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So activity number 2, lava lamp. The first thing we want to do is pour oil into the glass and fill it 2/3 of the way. So I'm not gonna fill it all the way because this is a pretty tall glass. I might be able to use a shorter one. Let's see if this is clean. Actually, I'll switch this out. I'm going to use this mason jar instead, so maybe you could see what's happening. Actually, no, I'm going to keep this one because since it's clear, then you can see the activity more. Okay. So first things first is pour oil into the glass and fill it 2/3 of the way. So depending on the glass, if you have one that's like about this size, then you can just do it to right here, 2/3 of the way. For this one, I'm gonna just dump whatever I can into here because I don't have as much baby oil. Okay. So go ahead and pour the baby oil in. Okay, so that's all the baby oil I have. And 2/3 of the way is just going to be relative to what I actually add to it. So I don't know if you can see, but there's about this much in there. Okay. And next thing, fill the rest of the glass with water. So go ahead and grab a pitcher or anything that you can pour water into this. Okay, so okay, the amount of water I added is about another 2/3 of the way up. Let's see, some questions. No worries for being late. You can always rewatch the video from the beginning if you missed anything. You don't have the food coloring. If you don't have food coloring, you'll just have to use your eyes because it's going to create a reaction. So you'll just have to watch it. The food coloring helps to make it more visible. Do you need something with the cap? You don't need something with the cap unless you plan on keeping this. So if you plan on keeping, well, your lava lamp isn't going to stay alive forever because the tablets don't last forever. But that's why we're not doing anything with the cap, because we're going to eventually just pour it out. Okay. So once we got the water in, it's about this much now. I'm going to add 8 to 10 drops of food coloring to the glass and let them settle to the bottom. Okay. And here's my food coloring. It's a green color. All right. So 8 to 10 drops. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so they're slowly dropping through the oil and going to the bottom. Yeah, you can use paint. That's a good idea if you have it handy. Something that's colored and liquid. And again, if you don't have anything like that, that's okay too. Okay, so we are going to drop 1 effervescent tablet, or you can break it up into pieces and put it in the glass. So open this up. Okay, so once I'm going to try to position this camera so that you can see what's going to happen from a side view. I might have to just lift it up. Okay, do it like this and I'll move it closer. I want you to be able to see. So as you can see, all of the food coloring is up here. And if you look here, oh, 1 little drop actually didn't make it past the oil. So that's okay. All right, here we go with 1 drop. I'm just going to spin it. So can you see right here? So the little effervescent tablet is causing a reaction right here. Let me put the other tablet in. Actually, this time I'm going to break it. Over here. And over there. Okay, so essentially you just made your own lava lamp. And we're going to explain what the science is behind this right now. So put this down. Okay, so the lava lamp is working because of 2 different scientific principles. First, we have density and then we have polarity. So density is the measurement of how compact a substance is, meaning how much of it can fit in a certain amount of space. And polarity prevents the oil and water from mixing together. So that's why we saw the oil on the top layer and the water on the bottom layer. Oil molecules, however, are non-polar, so they don't have a positive or negative charge. So they are not attracted to the water molecules at all. And this is why oil and water do not mix. So real lava lamps use polar and non-polar liquid, just like our homemade one. Oh, I'm sorry, I kind of reversed it. You're actually supposed to have a lot more of the oil than the water. So my apologies. I had reversed and I did only 1/3 the amount of oil and 2/3 of water. So if you do this again at home, you want to make sure that you have a lot more oil than you do of water. Okay, the denser liquid will sink to the bottom, but the lava lamp light heats it up and expands and becomes less dense, causing it to rise upwards. So if you've ever seen a real lava lamp, you'll see the liquid, the color liquid bubbling up all the way to the top. Let's see here. As it gets farther from the light, it cools down, becoming denser again until it sinks, and then the cycle starts over. Instead of using a light in our homemade lava lamp, we use the Alka-Seltzer to power the lamp. And the Alka-Seltzer reacts with the water to produce carbon dioxide bubbles. And these stick to the water droplets. So the water gas combo is less dense than the oil, so they'll rise to the top of the flask. And at the top, the gas bubbles pop and escape into the air, allowing the dense water to sink back to the bottom again. All right, so that's it for our lava lamp experiment or activity. Good job, everyone. Let's move this to the side. Okay. Cool, so it worked with ink. That's awesome. Good job thinking on your feet. Okay, activity number 3, coin cleanser. We are going to need, where did I put it? Oh, right over here. Here's what we'll need. We need a lime, knife, plate, and 3 or 4 dirty coins. So these again are pretty dirty. They don't even look like pennies to me. Okay, so when you're ready, please raise your hand. And for this part, if you are younger and not comfortable with a knife, please ask a parent or guardian that's with you to help you use the knife because we're going to be making cuts. And I don't want anyone to get hurt. Would a lemon work? Yeah, you can use a lemon. That's fine. Okay. And I'm just going to go check on our pennies from our first activity and see if anything's happening. Okay, so here are our pennies. I don't see too much change yet. Let's see on the other side. Not too much happening. We'll have to come back and look at it. Okay. Okay. Are you asking to show the last activity or Ziggy? If you need to see any of the activities, again, you'll have to watch our YouTube video because we're going to need to finish this up before 5 o'clock. Okay, so activity number 3, again, 1 lime, a knife, a plate, and 3 or 4 dirty coins. So what we're going to do is, if you have a cutting board, please feel free to use it. I think I do have a cutting board. I don't see one. That's okay. I'm just going to use my plate. So use your knife to cut slits into the lime. So kind of find a flat spot for your lime to like rest nicely. And then make sure you hold it down pretty firmly. And we're going to cut slits into the lime. So I think I'm going to do it this way. So there's one slit, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to go back. Okay. Once you do that, you are done with your knife. You can just put it aside. And now we are going to insert our pennies into the lime. So find where you had the hole. Oops. And then, ooh, you could put it in at varying depths. So this one I put in pretty far. The next one I'll just put in like halfway. This one. And try to get wherever it's really, really dirty on your coin, try to get that part into the coin. Let's see, which one's more dirty? This one's pretty dark. All right, and just get it into your penny, just like that. Okay, so for this, we are going to let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. So we're going to come back and take a look at this experiment as well. So you can just put it to the side. Okay. And I will come back and explain what's going on with that as well. Someone said, can you take one coin? Do you mean, can you just use one coin? You can use as many coins as you want. I just used 4. Because then you can see the varying lengths of what type of reaction is happening. How do you get hydrogen peroxide? You can buy it from any grocery store or drugstore again. And the hydrogen peroxide can be 3% or 6%. For the green pennies, the paper towel turned green, but not the coins yet. Oh, that's interesting. You are having a reaction though, and they are supposed to turn greenish. So that's good. Okay, number 4, activity number 4. And what is hydrogen peroxide? It is a cleaning solution. This is hydrogen peroxide. So you'll usually find it close to where you find Band-Aids, because this is like a topical solution. You usually put it on any like cuts or wounds to kill any kind of bacteria that you might have. Okay, let me bring up my bin so you can see all of the things that we're going to need for activity number 4. Okay. So activity number 4 is called elephant toothpaste. Is it in alcohol? No, it is not. This is specifically, yeah, it's not in alcohol. This has a special type of chemical makeup. But again, if you don't have it, that's okay. You can just watch along, and then next time if you get the supplies, you can do it with us while you rewatch the video. Okay, so required materials for activity number 4. A tall and narrow vase. Oh, I think I'm gonna need to reuse. Oh no, I'm sorry. Instead, I'm using an empty 2-liter bottle. So that's what I'm doing. So I have an empty 2-liter bottle here. And then hydrogen peroxide, 3% or 6% will work. Active dry yeast. Active dry yeast you will get at a grocery store. They may have it at a drugstore too, like CVS or Rite Aid, but it is in the baking section. So you use active dry yeast to make bread or pizza dough. stuff like that. Dish soap. I have a little bottle of dish soap here. Warm water, we're going to get that from the sink. Food coloring. So I'll grab my green food coloring again. A large bucket, which is what this is for. And a measuring glass or mug. So I have a measuring cup. And I'm also going to be using one of these. These are called a funnel. Since I'm going to be using the 2-liter bottle, I'm going to need to be able to get all of my ingredients into that little hole. Okay. So please raise your hand when you are ready to start this activity. Will instant yeast work? As long as it's a powder, is it dry? Is it dry? Like in a little package? Yeah, go ahead and give that a try. And I do not have a substitute for the yeast. We need specifically the yeast for this activity we're doing. No problem. Okay. So I'm just going to make a little space here. Okay. Is everyone ready? All right, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is pour half a cup of hydrogen peroxide solution, 1/4 cup of dishwashing soap, and a few drops of food coloring into the vase or bottle and swish it around to mix the ingredients. All right, so here is my measuring cup. I'm going to open up this. Oh, let me take the seal off. This is a brand new bottle. Okay. Just go ahead and pour it. So we need half a cup of hydrogen peroxide. Let's see. Okay. So using my measuring cup, I measure to 1/2 cup. So I'm going to go ahead and use my funnel. Let me bring this closer. Okay, so you can see I'm pouring that in. All right, 1/2 cup of hydrogen peroxide. Next, 1/4 cup of dishwashing soap. Okay, so if you're looking, this is a 2-cup measuring cup right here. So let's see, 1/4. I don't even see 1/4, but it should actually be right here. This line, very little. So we don't even need to use this. Let's just ballpark it. We can pour it directly in. So 1/4 isn't that much. Just pour about 2 big squirts worth. Let's start with that. Okay, and a few drops of food coloring into the vase or bottle. So I'm going to use green again because we're doing green themed. Do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next, we are going to swish this around to mix the ingredients. We will see the procedures. I'm taking notes. Oh, great. And if you want, you can always email me directly and I can send you my file that has all the ingredients with the directions and also what the science is behind it. So if you would like that, so that you don't have to take notes, but let me put my email address in the chat and you can email me directly. Let's see. UCA.gov. Okay, oops. Let's see, everyone. Lorraine, are you there? Yeah. Can you type my email in the chat? Okay. Miss Lorraine is going to put my email address in the chat. So if you want a document that has all the activities with the directions and the materials and the science behind it, please send me an email and I will be happy to give you that document so that you can do it again at home. And you don't have to take notes right now. And you can always watch the video while reading through my notes. Okay. So we're on number 4. Okay, so now we need to set the bottle inside of our bucket. So our bucket, the mission of the purpose for our bucket is to catch what we're going to be creating. So this may or may not get messy. Okay, so after you've switched it, I'm going to put it in here. Get a good angle right there. Okay. In a separate glass, mix a packet of active dry yeast with a little bit of warm water and give the yeast about 5 minutes to activate before proceeding to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 packet. Actually, I'm going to get some scissors and cut it off and then put the contents into a glass. So meanwhile, I'm actually going to use this mason jar. So if you have anything that's microwavable, like a mug, anything that's microwave safe, you can microwave it for about, let's say like 30 seconds to warm it up. So pour some water in there. So I have my water's right here. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off the first package of active dry yeast, put the rest to the side. Okay, so again, we in a separate glass, mix a packet of active dry yeast with a little bit of warm water. So here I'm going to take my water and I'm just going to microwave it for a little bit in the microwave to warm it up. Okay, how much water? Let's see, it didn't quite say, but I just filled up this glass about a little more than halfway. So you can do maybe about a cup or a cup and a half of water. And to mix it, I'm also going to be using a spoon. So if you have a spoon handy or chopstick or anything to just stir it around, that would be perfect. Okay, so I microwaved my water for about 25 seconds, 25 to 30 seconds. If you have warm water ready from your faucet, you can also do that. You don't have to microwave. And just check it, make sure it's warm. This feels warm. Okay. So put that right there. So here is my glass of water. And this is what the yeast looks like. They're like little light brown speckles in there, like dust. Okay. So go ahead and pour that in and then mix up the water. And I think somebody asked earlier if this is really elephant toothpaste. It's not, it's just nicknamed that. So this is not really toothpaste for elephants at all. I think it's called that because of what the reaction's going to be. So it seems like something that could be toothpaste for an elephant. All right, so mix that up. And then we want to give it 5 minutes to start activating. So once you mix it, just kind of let it rest. And while we're doing that, let's see any other. Your yeast is in the jar. Okay, if you have it in the jar, make sure you're mixing it with the water. What is the elephant toothpaste? I don't want to ruin the surprise, but it's a chemical reaction that's going to be very fun to watch if we do it correctly. That's going to be green because we put green dye in there. Okay, I'm going to bring back my pennies again and see if there's anything different about them. So unfortunately, mine hasn't turned any kind of color. There's not much happening at all, which is unfortunate. But I will go over what the science is behind it. Okay. How many of you have had pennies that are changing color? Has anybody had any kind of reaction? So I'll go through what the science is behind the green penny. So the reason the pennies turn green is the same reason why the Statue of Liberty is green. We've all seen the Statue of Liberty and she can get quite green, but originally she was bright orange and a shiny copper. So the green stuff that's covering the Statue of Liberty is called malachite. I don't know how to say that very well. And it is a result of copper being exposed to salt, acid, and weather. So you can recreate the Statue of Liberty's transformation from copper to green using pennies. The pennies turning green is a representation of a chemical change. Pennies are largely made of copper, which means they will oxidize just like many other metals. However, rather than rusting, pennies simply get covered in a coating of green that can be polished off. So turning a penny green does not eat holes into the pennies. When you add vinegar and salt to pennies, it dissolves the top copper oxide layer of the penny, and this causes the copper atoms to mix with oxygen in the air and chlorine in the salt. So that is what's supposed to happen. So I suspect that maybe these are not older pennies. Well, you can see from this side. This side is very, very clean from the vinegar. I'll flip them over. So some of them are changing on the back side. And I don't know if you can see this, but there is a little bit of green right here. Oh, look, there is some green. I don't know if you can see it. Very, very tiny amount, but it started to change. It's very, very small reactions. So there's a little bit of green on this one too. And then this one just got nice and clean. This one also has a little bit of green, a hint, very small amounts. And there's also a little bit of green speck on this one too. So maybe I didn't use enough vinegar. I'm not sure. You guys can always recreate this activity and see. Do some changes, like some experimenting where you do more vinegar or a lot more salt and see if there's anything different that happens. Okay, so that was number one. Let's see. The ingredients again. Do you mean the ingredients for this last one? Miss Lorena, can you link the ingredients list again? Miss Lorena is going to put in the chat the materials list one more time, and you can follow that. Again, if you're just joining us, feel free to email me and I can send you a complete activity list with everything on it so that you can rewatch the video and follow along. Okay. Should we check on our lime or should we go to this first? Let me just take a peek at my lime and see if anything's happened yet. Okay, not quite ready. So we're going to move on with number 4. So I think it's been about 5 minutes. We are now going to pour the yeast mixture, so this one, into the bottle here, okay? Now I've seen this on videos and it was really cool, and I'm really, really hoping that it's going to work for us correctly, okay? Let me position this. Okay, here we go. So I am going to try to use the funnel at first, and then I'm going to remove it. Okay, here we go. One final mix. I don't know. Okay. It's slowly coming. I don't want to move it, but hopefully yours is doing the same thing. Okay. Can you see what's happening? I guess it wasn't enough to come up to the top. It's slowly rising. Anyways, so there's a chemical reaction happening. So when we poured our liquid, it was down here. And I don't know if you can tell, it's being replaced by foam that's slowly moving up towards the top. And there's bubbles right up here. And now the bubbles are right up here. So I think if we used more dish soap and also a stronger hydrogen peroxide, I've seen videos where it's actually like shooting out of the bottle. So that's what this is for. In case you had a stronger solution, if you had a 6% or higher, it would literally launch itself out of this bottle. And I only used 3%, so the chemical reaction was a lot more tame, not so crazy. So basically this entire area filled with foam. All right, so the science behind this. What makes the foam appear? Well, when the hydrogen peroxide comes in contact with the yeast, it starts breaking down into water and oxygen. Oxygen is a gas, and therefore it wants to escape the liquid. So the dish soap that you added to your reaction traps in these gas bubbles and it forms the foam. So the reaction continues as long as there is hydrogen peroxide and yeast left. Once one of them runs out, it stops making new foam. So if you try the activity without using dish soap, the reaction would still make bubbles, but not the foam. So let's see, did it work for everyone? It worked for you nicely. That's great. What level, what percentage of hydrogen peroxide did you use? I actually tried to find 6%, but I could not find 6%. And I actually want to see what happens when I put just a little bit more dish soap in here. I want to see if anything else occurs. I'm going to put just a little bit more dish soap. Okay, I think it might have stopped reacting, but I want to see what happens when I put a little bit more hydrogen peroxide in there too. Okay, so there's a little bit more, it must be there's some more yeast. So now that I added more hydrogen peroxide, now it's starting to come out. So this is kind of what we were talking about as the reaction, that it looks like elephant toothpaste. There we go. So the stronger and more hydrogen peroxide you have, it's supposed to do this. So when you have a really high concentration, it would literally shoot up foam. 3%, great. That's awesome. Okay, so this is elephant toothpaste. And as you can see, it's not really toothpaste at all. It just looks like large foamy toothpaste that you would use if you were a giant elephant. All right, good job, everyone. We are now going to just check on our lime pennies and see if that has done anything. While that's oozing away. Okay, bringing back our lime. Here's our lime. All right. So, okay. I think it's been enough time. I'm going to go ahead and pull out this first one. Okay. Let's see, the lighting is not that great in here. Here we go. Here we go. Look at that. So it started to clean off the penny. I mean, the penny definitely didn't look like that before. Let's go to the next one. Wow. That definitely looks more like a penny. Go to the next one. Not bad. I bet if it soaks overnight, it will be a completely bright, glistening penny. And our last one. Definitely cleaner than before. Okay, so the science behind the coin cleaner. So the lime juice is a naturally acidic item and reacts to the copper coins to remove any chemical buildup. So did everybody's limes, I'm sorry, not limes, pennies turn a different color? Like, how did it work with the lemons? Did you have the same kind of results? Let's see some, ours look like shaving cream. Oh, that's awesome. Shaving cream, that's a very good consistency. That's actually exactly what you would have wanted for the elephant toothpaste. All right, well, hopefully your pennies turned color. I know mine slightly changed, but at least it still worked better than the first activity. Okay, again, if you need the sheet with everything listed, the instructions, the materials list, please send me an email. Let me type it one more time in the chat. All right, this is my email address. You can email directly and ask me for today's STEAM Lab activity guide. I will happily email it to you. Oops. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the end of our STEAM Lab. So thank you for joining me today. Again, my name is Jackie. I am one of the librarians here at Central Park Library. You can view all of our STEAM Labs from our YouTube channel. There's a playlist of it. So everything that we ever record, it will be available. Next month is going to be Earth Day STEAM Lab. So please join me for that. Check out our calendar event. And thank you for joining me.